He is not alone. His disciples and a great crowd travel with him. It is likely toward evening when they approach the outskirts of Nain. There they encounter a considerable number of Jews in a funeral procession. The dead body of a young man is being carried out of the city for burial. The most grief-stricken among them is the mother of the young man. She is a widow, and now her only child has died. When her husband died, at least she still had her beloved son with her. Imagine how close she must have felt to him, for her hopes and her security for the future were tied up with him. Now he too has died. Who is there left to provide her with company and support? When Jesus sees this woman, his heart is touched by her extreme grief and the sadness of her situation. Tenderly and yet with assurance that imparts confidence, he tells her, "Stop weeping." Yet, he does more. He approaches and touches the bier on which the body is being carried. Luke 7:13-14. His manner and actions are such that the mourning townspeople stop in their tracks. What does he mean, and what is he going to do? Many must wonder. And what of those traveling with Jesus who have seen him perform powerful works, healing many diseases? They apparently have never seen Jesus resurrect anyone from the dead. Although resurrections did occur in the distant past, can Jesus do such a thing? 1 Kings 17:17-23. 2 Kings 4:32-37. Jesus gives the command, "Young man, I say to you, get up." Luke 7:14. And it happens. The man sits up and starts to speak. Jesus gives him to his shocked yet overjoyed mother. She is no longer alone. Jesus resurrects a widow's son. Luke 7:11-17. When the people see that the young man truly is alive, they praise the life-giver, Jehovah, saying, "A great prophet has been raised up among us." Others grasp the significance of Jesus' wonderful deed, saying, "God has turned his attention to his people." Luke 7:16. The news of this amazing thing quickly spreads into the surrounding country and likely to Jesus' hometown, Nazareth, some 6 miles away. The report even spreads down south into Judea. John the Baptist is still in prison, and he is very interested in the works that Jesus is able to perform. John's disciples tell him about these miracles. How does he respond? A resurrection at Nain. What is happening as Jesus approaches Nain? How is Jesus affected by what he sees, and how does he respond? What is the reaction of the people to what Jesus does? 37:95. For about a year, John the Baptist has been in prison. Still, he hears of Jesus' marvelous works. Imagine how John feels when his disciples tell him that Jesus has resurrected the widow's son at Nain. However, John wants to hear directly from Jesus about what this all means. So John summons 2 of his disciples. To do what? They are to ask Jesus, "Are you the coming one, or are we to expect a different one?" Luke 7:19. Does that seem to be a strange question? John is a devoted man who, when baptizing Jesus nearly 2 years before, saw God's Spirit descend upon Jesus and heard God's voice of approval. We have no reason to think that John's faith has grown weak. Otherwise, Jesus would not speak so highly of John, as he does on this occasion. But if John is not having doubts, why does he ask this question of Jesus? John may simply want verification directly from Jesus that he is the Messiah. This would strengthen John as he languishes in prison. And John's question apparently has an added sense. He is acquainted with the Bible prophecies that show that the Anointed One of God is to be a king and a deliverer. Yet, many months after Jesus was baptized, John is in prison. So John is asking if there is to be another one coming, a successor to Jesus, as it were, who will complete the fulfillment of all that the Messiah was foretold to accomplish. Rather than simply tell John's disciples, "Of course I am the one who is to come," Jesus gives evidence that he has God's backing by healing many people of all kinds of diseases and ailments. Then he tells the disciples, "Go and report to John what you are hearing and seeing. The blind are now seeing and the lame are walking, the lepers are being cleansed and the deaf are hearing, the dead are being raised up and the poor are being told the good news." Matthew 11:4-5. John's question might imply an expectation that Jesus